Hi. All right, you're not melted yet. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you the secret of life. You're going to forget it by dinner time. And in 20 years, one of you is going to look at the other and say, what did that lady tell us again? Let's start with 3 stories. So my husband goes to a dinner. His first impression is that the guy he's seated next to is a bit of a dud. He texts me under the table, I'll be home early. Some food is served, some wine is poured. A man across the table mentions something about going on a safari. Edward, my sometimes awkward husband, looks at the dud and says, have you ever been to that part of the world? Well, I spent 45 days in Madagascar as a political prisoner. Edward leaned in. A dozen questions later, turns out the guy nearly starved to death, and when he was rescued, he weighed 111 pounds. Have you ever heard a story like that? I mean, he almost missed it. Number 2, I go to this fundraiser. It's a ladies' lunch. There's a very beautiful woman seated next to me. She has a tailored suit and real jewelry and shoes with a shiny red bottom that means they were very well made and very expensive. I'm feeling schlubby and judgy and like I want to text my husband that I'll be home early. I ask her, what brings you here today? And she says she comes every year with her family to celebrate giving her kidney to her mother. A dozen questions later about the decision, the pre-counseling, the surgery, coming out of anesthesia, I have a new friend. I mean, have you ever heard a story like that? I almost missed it. Number 3, I'm driving to the airport in San Francisco yesterday to come here, and I'm knocking off emails in the back. I have this interview coming up on Tuesday with Melinda Gates. I'm scheduling Cecily Strong for the podcast. I have this new children's book, Hello World. My daughter is also graduating. We are selling our house, and I am writing the last bit of a graduation speech for the Walker School. And there's a little marble elephant on the dashboard that catches my eye. And I asked the driver where he got it. His mother gave it to him when he left India. How old were you? 16. Did your mother just cry buckets? Oh, yes. Boy, she must be happy when you get home. I never saw her again. She died, and I couldn't get there in time. Have you ever heard a story like that? I almost missed it. So here's my thesis. Everyone, everywhere, has stories to tell you and things to teach you. That's my whole thing. So if you want to have a great life, ask questions. I literally got a spray tan and flew across the country to tell you that. Ask questions. I guess that's not quite enough, so let me reapproach. Here's 3 facts. 1, the number 1 driver of human happiness across time, across culture, in war, in peace, in a grass hut, or the highest penthouse, for Dansby Swanson, or Billie Eilish, or your nutty Latin teacher, is meaningful connection to others. Number 2, and this is a fact, everyone loves Paul Ford. Paul Ford is this funny guy, he's an introvert, and he told me once that at parties, he asks people what they do for a living. And no matter what they say, he says, that must be really hard. And no matter what they do, they answer, oh, it is. People want to feel they've been felt. And it's a weirdly hard feeling to come by because most people like talking more than they like listening. Number 3, the only thing better than a question is a follow-up question. This is especially true for the people you spend the most time with. You don't know everything about everyone. There's more to each of us than we think. So if you want happiness, And society needs happy people. We're healthier and more productive. We contribute more. You've got to connect, which means you have to internalize what I've already told you. Everyone, the bus driver, the bully, your weird cousin who picks his nose, everywhere, at the DMV, at the taco stand, right here, right now, has stories to tell you and things to teach you. A little wonder goes a long way. Disregard what you heard about the cat. Curiosity is brave and humble and always pays. A final thought: great lives are just an accumulation of great days, and great days are just an accumulation of great connections. Small and fleeting, those count. Social science tells us all the time that weak ties matter, they lead to well-being. And also the deep, lifelong connections. The people you will miss the most next year. The people who will miss you. Speaking of your parents, and I know this because my daughter graduates this year too. Before I go, I want to explain something about the people who raised you to help you understand all the crying and staring and weirdly long hugs. So you were little, and at some point you came into consciousness and looked up, and there we were, tall people cutting apples just the way you like them. You have never known a world where we were not. But us, we were just regular nobodies. And then you came and you changed everything. We could win the 515 Megaplier Super Lotto tonight, and you would still be the biggest thing that ever happened to us. We love you more than you have loved anything. So go the laws of nature. So yeah, maybe we want to stare at that face a little longer. Hang on to that body that we once lifted and carried and held. And take one more family photo. Be patient with us. This is hard. And please take very good care of yourselves. Be brave, bravo, and bon voyage.